Hello, and welcome to Automat Live Coding. This is the stream where we write Automat. Automat is it's a utility app. It's something that you run in system tray. You can see in my system tray on the top there is this small red icon. This is the icon for this. This is the app that we are writing. It's an automation app. It takes control over everything on your desktop and can send signals there. You can move your mouse. So if I record a macro like this one, this is a macro recorder. So you cannot tell. I have a macro. I can play it. I hope you follow. It's fairly straightforward once you see how it works. And you can chain those things. You have cables that can connect other things. I can create a repeating macro like that. That one actually did stop because there is a button press at the end. Rid of it. Yeah, now it's going to loop forever. So this is Automat. Automat has many more features. It can capture windows, it can process images, it can press, release keys, it can react to hotkeys. Lots of stuff. Just need to find a way to stop this. Okay. Yeah, this is the only problem with Automat. Sometimes it just forgets about you. Kind of, once you tell it what to do, it does the job. So this is nice. So this is Automat. There are some new things in Automat which appeared. So we have a new set of objects for working with images. And they are called... I need to change this. It should not be it should be just Leptonica. Anyway, so let's say I have an image. I can, for instance, grab Automat itself, right? So this is a picture of Automat which was captured moment when I don't know, when I had a menu there. Now with this object I can do some funny operations. So this is my input image, this is my output image, this is empty right now. I can do this maybe. I think this is how we could make it work. Yeah, that works. So here I have an object that can... Maybe I can create a small loop. So now I have Automat which captures its own window and another object which is blending it with the previously captured one. So I can play with this and achieve some kind of motion blur effects. Right? That's a silly effect. And there are more. I could do, I don't know. I have no idea what convolve will do. Let's see. So instead of doing this loop like that, let's do it like that. Let's play. So now we have some blurry convolution. I can also sharpen it. Sharpen. Oh, it lost connection. Okay. Sharpening is... producing very strange results. Maybe let's stay with blur. Okay, now we have a decently sharpened version of Automat. And play with this radius to get different types of sharpening. Yeah. I do not know enough about image processing to know what's happening here. I just know it's a fun image processing primitive. Bila? What is Bila? Rank. Rank is interesting. What is it doing? It looks very nice. This is a nice effect. It's very slow though. Yeah, so those image processing objects, they are kind of beta quality. I haven't had the time to polish each of them. Each of them has tons of defects. So this is because I've started using a new workflow where I use more AI to write those blocks, and it accelerates work a lot. Using AI is it's basically a game changer in how to work. What is Bilad? This is another interesting object. Very slow though, extremely slow. So I am developing a new set of rules for working with AI agents. Within Automat codebase, I call them stochastic parrots. Because I do not want to give to marketing and the fact that the companies behind those language models, they really try to present them as personalities. So ChatGPT acts like a person, Gemini acts like a person, Claude acts like a person. Claude even has a human name, and this is like putting human names, assigning human names, to. So, at least in kind of maybe in my country, assigning human names even to animals is seen like something that's maybe slightly disrespectful to the people who might hold those names. So yeah, if my name was Claude, I'm not sure if I would feel comfortable with an AI agent, also calling themselves Claude. Anyway, so to avoid this anthropomorphization of AI, I decided to call them stochastic parrots. And within the code base of Automat, I only refer to them as stochastic parrots or just parrots for short. So one thing that I figured out, so I was playing with those parrots for a long time, but they always produced really garbage output. It was very frustrating working with them because whenever they touched a bigger piece of code, they always messed it up, deleted important sections of code. It's an exercise in patience, really, working with AI. Recently, I tried to take a book, like a good book on visual design, and give it to the AI agent as a context, so that whenever we start the conversation, the agent starts the conversation by reading the book. So it has access to all those patterns which are explained there, and all those principles and rules. And this is making a big difference. Now, when I present a problem to a parrot, it can actually recall different techniques which have been documented by people who are experts on this subject, and it can reference them. And because it has access to such a vast amount of different techniques, it is actually starting to produce decent outputs. Like, it's not perfect. It's far from perfect. This is why we have this parrot style, parrot drawings, where everything is written in a wonky text. All of the buttons are kind of wobbly, and everything looks like it was drawn in MS Paint, but kind of badly. Okay. Iskra went her own way. Yeah, we had Iskra come around here for some time. Yeah, I have this GoPro laying around. I decided to finally use it. Anyway, that's a digression. So we have a I have a much better workflow for working with stochastic parrots, and this workflow is now documented as part of Automat code base. So if you want to take a look at GitHub and see how it's structured, you can find in docs, there is a new document called stochastic parrots, and it documents everything. I need to fix so many things. Okay, so this is the project I am following, the workflow I am following. And this workflow involves more iteration now, where I provide a list of defects and the parrot fixes them. This is a fairly standard workflow with agents. Nothing unusual there. That was a very interesting operation. I would love to learn more about it. Anyway. So there is one more new thing. One more thing which is my new top priority in Automat. There is a spectre on the horizon of Linux. That spectre is called Wayland. Wayland is the new desktop. It's a new protocol which allows apps to talk with each other within a desktop. When an app wants to display a window, when it wants to accept keyboard events, mouse movement, it's like an API for apps effectively to present themselves on the desktop. Wayland is a replacement for the old X protocol. And one thing, like there are a couple things that Wayland does, and one of them, which I very much do not like, is sandboxing. Wayland is all about sandboxing. I believe that sandboxing apps and preventing communication across apps, this is the default desktop, default Linux desktop. This is why I really do not like Wayland. I really like to customize my desktop, to have a custom system bar, custom launcher, custom desktop wallpaper apps, custom window decorations. You know, everything is kind of mix and match within X. Within Wayland, not so much. Within Wayland, you pick a kind of desktop manager, and the desktop manager or window manager, it does everything. You cannot change granularly its behavior. The apps which exist within the window manager, they have no ways of, they can roll out their own ways, but there is no official way for apps to talk with each other. There are different Wayland protocols, which is nice. The different desktops can implement the different subsets of Wayland. So this part of the system is actually nice, but the sandboxing and the lack of interoperability, this is very bad. This is a big step backwards in what Linux really is. So, there's one more thing. It's also a problem for Automat, because Automat is all about interoperability. In Automat, we can capture other windows, right? This is a Chrome that I just captured. No, it's easy, it's super easy. You can do it like, it was it's the wrong direction. I can do it in like a second, maybe a couple of seconds. That's a hyperbole. So interoperability is at the core of Automat, and the fact that Wayland kills it makes us enemies, basically. So, I think there is a way to kind of save Wayland, and this is instead of participating in the Wayland ecosystem as a regular app, as a client, I think Automat should become a Wayland compositor, a window manager. If Automat can be a Wayland window manager, then it means it can control the input that other apps are getting, and it can help them control other apps. Because, for instance, within Automat, I can also make it an X server. I can make it an X server in parallel, and at the same time make it a Wayland server. So I can do both things at the same time. So X apps can still display themselves, and they can still benefit from the full X interoperability layer. And Wayland apps, which need sandboxing, maybe, they can exist as sandboxed windows which cannot do much. So this is not entirely new. There is something called Wayland. But Automat can offer more access than just pure Wayland. Is this called Wayland? Let me... Yeah. So if I can implement proper X protocol, I can actually allow apps to do, pointer locking and global keyboard shortcuts and everything. So it's going to be much more permissive than most Wayland window managers. Yeah, basically, this is the plan, to support both protocols, Wayland protocol and the X protocol, and the apps which are running within Automat. Automat will basically become a desktop environment. I'm actually not sure how this can be provided on other platforms. On other platforms you don't really have those issues because you don't really have this choice. It's like Windows or OS X. They tell you basically that they control what apps can do. So my plan for today is to do two things. First, I want to show you a prototype of this new Wayland display that is running within Automat. So here is a new object called command. Within this object, I can type a regular command like it is a terminal emulator. This is what I typically use when I press my keyboard shortcut for terminal. I can start this command with some argument. I can give it a custom title. When I start it, it causes a new window, a new object to appear within Automat. And this is different than window capture, because window capture can perform screenshots of external windows. But this is a screenshot now. This is a static bitmap. This is a proper kitty surface running within Automat. So Automat acts as a Wayland server here, and it can spawn a separate process with this PID, and this PID displays itself here. So there we go. This is a very basic Wayland display. It allows me to click, select stuff. I can send the middle and right click, but they do not do anything. So part of this plan, Automat becoming a Wayland server, it's kind of here. It's already implemented. And it seems like it's working. And it's working kind of well. It's I still need to polish a lot of details. But I am pretty happy with how it looks. So what is left to do is we still need to properly implement the X protocol. We need to implement more features of the Wayland protocol, and then we'll be able to run maybe more complex apps here. I remember that. So let me clean this. Oh, I'm afraid I crashed it. Oh yeah. So here's sound effect. I can also write console commands, and those console commands will execute. I don't know if you heard this or you didn't. Yeah. I can play, there is a command line that I can use to play audio files. Or I can play some of the audio assets which are included in Automat by just typing play something. And by connecting them in sequence, I can have a terminal, which when I close, it plays the trash sound. Because, this sequencing, it works. I can actually create sequences of commands. And not only I can create sequences of commands, if I take this command, I can also create I think there is this. See? There is this book. I can do something like this. Or I can also use other Automat mechanisms like synchronization, so that when I press play one of those sounds, the other will play at the same time. And the movement of bells, it indicates the flow of, signals through this system. So the belt is moving rightward, because when I start it, the synchronization flows right towards this command. But when this audio file is actually shorter, it's much faster than a trash. So it ends first, so it sends stop signal back, so it stops the original sound. So we can see this. It's a fun way to organize program execution. I can say that, hey, those two programs, they should execute in parallel. Not all of the features of the sync mechanism are yet implemented, but I could make this sync unidirectional so that it only goes right. So I do not have this backflow of information. It will all come eventually. Right now the priority is to implement more of the Wayland and X protocols. I think once we have this, Automat is going to be able to function as its own kind of development environment, almost like a window manager where you develop it, at least. Okay, so this is what Automat can do right now. I was thinking I had two ideas for the rest of the stream today. Idea one was to go over this command object and just collect the defects so that we have a next round of, AI improvements on Monday. But I think I will do this either way. And there is a little bit of writing that I would do. I have never done writing, like a prose writing on stream. So this is my first time where I will attempt it. So let's see how this goes. So I wanted to document a little bit of this philosophy of why I dislike Wayland and why I honestly believe that it doesn't really bring any major improvement what we had in X. That this is kind of a step back. So within Automat, I will try to support both protocols, and maybe even expand the X protocol a little bit with things that are missing from there. Okay, so the plan for today is actually not to do much of live coding and ignore this longish introduction. The plan for today is to do some writing. So let's go into documentation directory. So I had this. Let me sort all of those windows. Go away. Away. So this is important, I think, to store in documentation because this documents the intent, behind all of those systems and decisions. What is the proper name to call this? Window manager? Or yes, give it. Wayland compositor. Okay, let's call this desktop environment because I think this is the correct term. And there is more critique than that could be applied to Wayland. Yeah, maybe I wrote it here. So if you take a step back from this problem, it's more about, organization of functions within the computer. Okay, I need to disable this. Snooze. And receive this Zen mode. Oh, too much Zen for me.
Nexus says
you should check out videos.
Nice. I closed it. But I think that when people develop operating systems, they usually focus on the low-level implementation, how the task scheduling and how low-level things work. They do not focus on the high-level design of how user interacts with apps. All of them look the same. This is just a window with where you click on buttons, basically copies of the same thing, all of them. There are very few kind of novel approaches to, different approaches to how operating system works. Like, if I can think of a new one, there is probably the Apple, app model. This was a genuinely new approach for, how do you interact with your desktop. Instead of having those apps, which have full access and can do everything, in Apple, you get those very sandboxed apps, which can display something on screen, and there are those icons that you activate. All of them smartphones now adopt this model. On desktop computers, you have completely different interaction models, and I think nobody ever goes beyond those two systems.
Try watching YouTube video. It is fully hallucinated AOS.
Yeah.
you are
You can ask it to generate app with malware that bricks the PC chip. And then you open it.
Next. And in fact, I'm already there. So I'm going to show you, and I need to introduce you to a completely new operating system that's going to change everything about. It's a real operating system. I can boot it. It's a VHDX file here, about 1.3 gigabytes.
But is it hallucinating new apps when you ask you to
I'm not going to. Going to boot it in.
start them? So there are no apps, you just start something and it's created on the fly when you start it?
And when that comes up, you'll see it's got a beautiful user interface that allows our user to be highly productive. Okay, so here we go. We're ready to get started with that. It's a bit hard to see there, so let's just switch to a full screen view. And we're going to start by running a few of the applications that are built.
So already it supports some pretty hard features like dynamic resolution changing. This requires some drivers, I think, from the emulator to be installed in the guest operating system.
Here, so we'll get some of the classics going. So we'll have Notepad, we'll have Calculator, we'll have Internet Explorer. And the thing that's unique here, the thing that you will never have seen before, is that in these applications, there is no code at all. Everything in all these applications is being hallucinated in real time by the AI. So there's no buttons, there's no event handlers, there's no logic to say what to do, but the application works. So if I do 5 divided by 3 and then equals, if I can find that, it's up there this time, it's 1.6. Okay, so it works, right? But I didn't write any code and neither did AI. There's no AI written code either. It's just producing UI exclusively with nothing behind it.
Nice.
And we've got
probably as some kind of JSON tree or HTML tree. Nice.
Here, unlike the
HTML probably. HTML is probably the easiest for AI to produce. They have lots of examples.
boring.
And you know, it's fairly easy to style a web page to look like a Windows XP era
Operating systems that you use today, this solves one of the big problems that people have, right? People are always wondering when they're on their internet, is it AI or not? But in Vibe OS, you don't have that problem. There's no question to be answered because the answer is always yes. Everything is AI. So if I want to, I can go to, I don't know, let's see if we can find whether Scott Hanselman has a Wikipedia page, shall we? So I'm going to go to google.com here, and let's do a search for Hanselman Wikipedia, and we'll do a Google search there. And I don't need to remind you this, but all of the content you're seeing
this is incredible.
Completely hallucinated, right? So it's just coming directly out of the model, and the UI is being updated in real time as we go. And here's a beautiful picture of Scott Hanselman. I'm not sure about that one. All right, but it goes further, right? We're not limited to these built-in applications. We can search for any app that we want, and everyone always does like to do app demos. So anything that I search for, I'm going to find, and it will just be created for me on the fly, all right? So let's see what else we could find in here. Let's go for one of the classics, Encarta 98. Everyone loves that one, but it's all about Mark Russinovich. All right, and so we can get a fully customized version of Encarta 98 on whatever subject we're interested in. All right, so lots of facts and figures about Mark here. Let's see, selected facts. Russinovich has a talent for turning internals into folklore. Great, I assume that's true, I don't know. All right, and other applications that you would want, but
amazing system.
Too difficult to make, so like Commander XE, but it's always rude to you. All right, so that's the sort of application that I think is a genius idea, but it's difficult to get someone to implement something like that. So let's see what we've got on this machine here. And obviously this is always different every time. Okay, there's something suspicious. Let's see if we can run bash in here. What's it got to say to us? Bash, you have somehow offended. Okay, fine. All right, so you get the idea, right? This is a pretty revolutionary way to do computing because we don't need to write any code for any of our applications anymore. Are there any software you would like to try out within Vibe OS, anything you can think of?
Microsoft Money 95.
It just works.
Yeah,
At Microsoft Money 95.
Money 95.
incredible.
Scott had-
But I'm pretty sure it's not really working entirely on the emulator. It's probably talking with some online server which is providing a high quality language model, like a large one, not a locally hosted one.
This one has a lot of money.
Oh, but
So this the fact that you can run it on the emulator, it's probably just smoke and mirrors to make it kind of look nice. Under the hood, it's probably just displaying a full screen website, which is fed by some language model.
for
There's second part that
Yeah,
explains
it's
how it
as well.
works.
That's totally fine.
all right. So let's see what Scott had in
Hansel Bank.
1995. Okay, let's see.
Okay,
what
and
it this is Scott checking account.
What model is
It's in pinned comments.
It's been a tough month for you, I guess.
where are the tacos?
There we
That
go.
is amazing.
All right.
Okay.
So
All right, I want to see paint with a drawing of Scott on it
paint with a drawing of Scott.
I'm
All
an
right,
owl,
let's see.
though.
Let's
like
do paint,
before your haircut.
but with pre-installed
Okay.
cancel.
And you've got, this is Copilot SDK that's doing this
This
chewing?
is using Copilot SDK, believe it or not, behind the scenes. I can show you a little bit about how it works if you want. So it says it's got a very normal picture of Scott Hanselman for
It's actually faster than Windows 11.
some reason. I don't know what it means by very normal. Okay, there's a normal picture of Scott Hanselman.
That's
for
your
you.
cage.
That's my cage? That's the cage you keep me in. Okay. This is insane. Wow. Okay. Could it? This is Vibe OS. Can it have nested OSs? How many OSs deep can we go? Can you simulate like an Altair
Yeah, sure.
8080? That's like a terminal emulator. So I need a
Yeah,
terminal
I mean, we
emulator
could simulate a whole
that's
different
going and
operating
it's like
system.
shushing into a Altair.
Totally. So we can get iOS simulator in there. We can. What else could we have? We could have.
This may be the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Me
oh
too.
yeah. Well, fair enough. All right. So what have we got? Oh, it's difficult to see on this screen size, but yes, we got a fully functional version.
Right, and I
of
love that
iOS
it
in
uses
there.
the appropriate Windows CE buttons that you are likely to see in an iPhone. Yeah, it's very legitimate. So, okay, so did he write this from scratch, or did he's vibing vibes?
Zapewni skórze potrójny boost kolagenu.
Yeah, so my bet, this is web browser window.
Outer, can you hear this?
Not really.
He says your define hallucination for you.
Define hallucination. Okay, so basically, all right, let me show you the code. All right, so behind the scenes, what we've got is inside our editor. Right, so what's happening here? I went through a few different ways to try and do this. First way I tried to do it was
It is a
by
web page.
generating raw bitmap images using like stable diffusion, that kind of approach. And it was sort of able to produce images of the desktop operating system, but it was rubbish because it took ages. And when you click on it, all you can say is like the user has clicked at these coordinates, and it doesn't really know how to update things. So then
There are ways to run stable diffusion really fast now. A couple of years ago it was hard, but now there is, those old models like 1.5, they are optimized to insane levels. You can run them almost on a beefy GPU, you can run them almost like in 10, 20 FPS.
I switched over to generating a structured representation of a UI. I tried a few different versions of it. I made a custom DSL. I tried this thing called Qt, which is a native UI thing, and I could generate a DSL for that, but it didn't do a very good job. The thing that really suddenly was able to do a great job was when I switched it to just be plain HTML. Because, these models have seen so much HTML, they can make that up very, very easily. So what we're doing here is every one of these windows is a separate iframe. And when it pops open, each one of them creates a separate Copilot session within Copilot SDK, and it gives it instructions like this. So it's saying you're simulating this application UI. I want you to produce some HTML that represents it, and it advises the model to put IDs inside all of the elements. And then whenever the user clicks anything, all we do is we send a message back to the AI saying, the user has clicked the element with ID R1 or whatever, now produce a diff that I can apply to the HTML. And so then the model produces the diff, we apply it, and the UI updates. And you get this kind of like fake statefulness because it's all happening within one Copilot session there. So yeah.
See, the irony here, and this is where Steve is very clever, is that he is using his AI augmented software engineering abilities and skills to create slop. And that's the genius.
It's
It's absolutely brilliant. I love it.
Intentional slop.
Intentional slop, but only one that an AI engineer could possibly do.
Yeah.
Do you think you could have done this?
Do I think what?
So the original... there was a popular paper a long time ago in language models which showed that you can ask a language model, everybody knows that it's possible now, to emulate a Linux terminal, and it will actually maintain a consistent simulation, like internal simulation of the state of the file system. So it's very... they are very capable. Okay. Nothing interesting for us.
Pretty funny.
Okay, there are lots of things to unpack when we talk. Maybe desktop environment is a bad term.
You know how people say that you don't need to use Privacy OS or stuff like that. If you're a regular person, you just shake your hand with Google, and that's that. You trade privacy for convenience.
I don't know where those statements are coming from. I guess people who really do not understand how this ecosystem works. So the targeting data that Google collects from users is not shared with anybody because it's very valuable to Google. Google does not sell or share your data. It uses it internally for, prioritize relevant ads.
From C. The thing is, I don't get convenience. Google just gets in my way every time.
And Google doesn't track you if you do not, if you select, so Google doesn't track you if you are not signed in. Only if you sign in, data about you is really collected. So this is all kind of misinformation. People repeat this online, but it's all made up. You literally sign out and you are no longer profiled. The only profile that is kept about you is, I think, some short-term info for anti-abuse purposes, if, for stopping bots. But if you open an incognito window, it's like you are actually incognito.
I got open source OS and I like it. Don't you like slim, efficient OS that just works and does what you want it to do?
Yeah. Something like an old Windows or Linux is perfect for that.
It doesn't shove ads. It doesn't beg you for things. It gets out of your way.
Oh yeah. And certification of operating systems is big. Once you get a monopoly, it's hard not to do this. Every major operating system does this. But open source operating systems also do this. Like Ubuntu, it went the same way as Microsoft. They just did it faster. They got certified way before that.
Also doesn't make your device look like a goddamn circus.
There was a period in the history of Ubuntu where they were like the top Linux operating system globally. They were basically the Linux OS. And then they decided to integrate with Amazon. So they had Amazon Shop as an icon. they started showing you some messages when you opened terminal. And yeah, at this point, a lot of people kind of left Ubuntu for different operating systems. Understandably, this is the gentrification cycle. A company gains monopoly, and they start extracting stuff from users. Rinse and repeat.
Fedora is now the new Ubuntu. Ubuntu really going for Snap with no open source. It's funny 'cause Snap is blocked on Mint.
Oh, that's nice. That's a pro for Mint. Snap is very... I dislike Snap because whenever I type mount, I get tons of those ridiculous mounts printed. Every app produces tons of mounts. It just makes the mounting unusable. Okay.
Sorry, Ubuntu, but if I wanted proprietary software, I would just use Windows. I don't like Snap. Like an Ubuntu, even when you download things from App Store, it downloads Snap package. Even when you say no Snap? And 'cause it's Snap, the thing is so out of date and doesn't even work. Are you making mathos?
Seems to be the case. You're watching on Twitch, so you cannot rewind, but there was a long intro before you joined.
I can't rewind on this specific stream.
Interesting. Let me try. Yeah, seems to work for me. Rewind.
Oh, yet? I was talking Twitch.
Oh yeah. Twitch only allows rewinding on VODs. Anyway. It's a nice music track. It's a good metaphor. Diseases or rats? Or maybe crime?
Idea. Ransomers. Every time you type something wrong, one of your files get encrypted.
Sounds like this is how it works if you use Internet Explorer on an old Windows installation. You type a wrong URL and your file system gets encrypted.
Windows still uses it. Literally on my system 32 files there is Internet Explorer, and if you delete it, it breaks things. Are you writing Windows fanfic? I read it myself, and it literally reminds me of Internet Explorer. How there are legacy buildings bridges that you can't demolish cause it breaks things. So you gotta keep that bridge, even if it's almost broken by itself.
Yeah. They cannot really change the infrastructure anymore. The infrastructure is forever.
Windows K2, where you at? Windows needs to start from scratch.
Linux has tons of desktop environments. I guess about every one of them, it's possible to write a metaphor like that. I guess the next one is probably OS X. How do you type this? Mac OS.
macaroni or
For containers, I think Debian is a very good one. I mean, it depends what you need out of a container. Yeah. You know, on DistroWatch you can just scroll through the list of operating systems and it never ends.
I was just making fun of Apple's macOS with macaroni OS.
Turns out it exists. Wasteland is not a good term. Wilderness. Maybe I can also do mobile. Web. Yes, web is big. We should add a section on web.
Meister Chica says,
Hello.
Hey,
Nose?
nose.
Network of zoos.
Oh yeah, this is a desktop environment fanfic that I'm writing. It's a kind of piece of on Automat really, but also on other systems. Yeah, I think I kind of went into the metaphor rabbit hole. I think it's nice.
I forgot BitBurner was getting an update, and my save got corrupted.
Oh no. Oh no. I need
Had
to
to
save.
start all over again.
So what is the new version? I'm on 301. 301.
Are you on 2 God X or 3?
Yeah, I guess I'm on 301. Maybe it's a good idea to refresh frequently because, yeah, if they change something in the API, it can totally mess up my save.
I figured out installing a TrueSteam and disabling updates, or heck, even building it from source is best option.
I am not sure with my script doing. Oh, it's doing well. Yeah, right now I can basically leave the game running and the script plays it now. I have prioritized singularity. I don't know how you are playing it. Actually, give me a sec. I will be right back. I will just make some coffee. So be right back.
What they had node graphs, what?
Oh, so at what stage of Bitburner are you? Because maybe some of the things here could be spoilers. Probably not, but I want to double check. So
Pretty early on you save.
So when you are buying those augmentations, have you reached the end of the process where you buy all of the augmentations from, basically where you buy the final augmentation? There is a final augmentation. Have you reached that point? I think this faction.
I know that on last save I had bought all cybersec augmentations.
Oh, so that game has. Oh, that game has like levels, below levels, below levels, below levels, and when you finish NightSec, when you switch to the next one, it shows you kind of some extra depth, some new mechanics that connect to the previous ones. And this is a very well designed game. Despite the awful interface, it is a very well designed game. In terms of mechanics, I mean, I shouldn't probably spoil too much. Yeah, I will let you finish the game. If you write a decent, like a very good script for hacking, it takes like many days to write a good script for hacking, but if you do it, you can beat the game in like a day or less. Start to finish. But on the default game, starting from, the first place where you start the game. Let's just call it that. Yeah, so there's a lot of nuance to hacking and how to do it. If you look at the API, there is API for scripts.
And in still following the old one strat of upgrading Neuroflux to level 5 and reseating and grinding of personal PC torture.
Oh yeah, and this is fine. Like the order of buying augmentations, it doesn't really make that much difference. What really matters is the quality of your script. If you have decent script, you can reset after every augmentation, or you can buy 10 augmentations and then reset. You can buy totally irrelevant augmentations and reset. A good hacking script is going to carry you either way. So whatever you do on augmentations, it basically doesn't matter if you have a decent hacking script. The API is important. There are some secrets in this game hidden in the API docs. If I hack, for instance.
Actually, Preferred Gate kept strat is to reset after buying every augmentation.
yeah, it's there are actually some benefits to this. Maybe not normally, but this strat gets it gets more valid in the later stages of the game even more. Within this, you have an S. I'm looking for an S. This one. You have those functions called hack, grow, and something else. What is this? Methods, yeah. Hack. Okay.
Because you persist all favor gained which will accumulate over time, and you don't lose progress on personal PC, and also letting math do the heavy lifting for me.
Yeah. Personal PC is super important. If in the later stages you can only use your personal PC, you do not need to buy any cloud servers, you do not need to run anything on any other PCs, your PC is enough because it's so beefy. You can basically hack the whole world from your PC if you kind of level it high enough. But to do this you need cloud servers. The mid-game requires those cloud servers. So this is documentation for the hack function, right? If you look, it has the options argument. And if you look at those options, there are some very weird numbers here, like additional milliseconds. Number of additional milliseconds that will be spent waiting between the start of the function and when it completes. And the point of this property is that this is the key to efficient hacking, this waiting. You need to use waiting for your hacking script to be efficient. And you also need one more thing. So you need this additional millisecond, and you need
On old save, I bought cloud servers to just share their RAM.
yeah. And you also have this get hack time. The hack time tells you how long the hacking function will take. And you can, when you start a hacking job, you can insert a delay, so it doesn't hack immediately. It will actually wait before it resolves. And the resolution is...
Controller, which you need like 128 gigs of memory, and at least 4 cores on home PC.
Almost. Yeah, this controller requires a lot of... actually, no, it's just 7 gigabytes. The controller that I'm using is just 7 gigabytes of RAM. But I have another, which is a game simulator, and this one is like almost 60 gigabytes. But the one that just hacks, it just hacks everything. This is cheap in terms of RAM. Because you need to just calculate the time and figure out how... and to plan the hacking jobs to perfectly kind of extract money from a server. You really need to go into the details of how hacking mechanics work, but yeah, it's a fun challenge to crack, this game. And hacking script, those augmentations, they are nothing. They do not matter compared to a good script. If you have a good script, you really need to abuse the game mechanics. It's not like playing by the rules will take you anywhere. You need to kind of stop typing commands manually as soon as possible. Everything has to be done by a script.
Yeah, for that you need good PC.
I do not remember what's the default amount of RAM. Something like 4 gigabytes, right? Or less, maybe? I do not remember.
Default is 8 on
8.
home.
Yeah.
I'm on 16 currently.
Yeah. One important thing is to have many scripts, like... So this is my hacking script. It just contains a single function to hack, and it's just, 1.7 gigabyte. So it's the minimal amount of RAM that you need for a single hack job. And the only important argument is this additional milliseconds.
Yeah, and you know how pissed off at Bitburner I am.
Yeah, but progress is fast. Trust me, progress is fast if you crack the tricks that this game kind of hides from you. And there are tricks. And they are hidden in very interesting ways. So reading API docs, like this game is really about finding secrets which are hidden in the API documentation. This is like environmental storytelling. The API is the main lore in this game. And the meta is to just abuse the API as much as possible. Zoo was a bad metaphor. A Colosseum is a much better one.
Imagine using Bitburner in 7-day interview process.
Doable, but I think AI kind of breaks this, because with AI you can just ask AI to solve Bitburner for you, and it will read the sources, figure out the Easter eggs, and yeah, basically crack the game for you. Any well-defined interview task is like a perfect task for AI to solve.
Know you lock the Candente on room without internet, and tell them to play this game.
Yeah, this is good. That would work. That will work. Absolutely.
The one who gets most progress gets hired and can replace AI.
trying to find a good metaphor for Automat. Walkie-talkie is not the best metaphor. Homunculus, maybe? I don't know. I think the last point should be the strongest one, and it's not. What must be a city here? This is bad.
Speaking how I'm pissed about Bitburner, I decide take my 2 cents of leftover global AI usage to make my own Bitburner or what usage?
Nice. Are you forking or... Oh, speaking of which.
Can't fork ES into Rust?
Nice. If you can, make your own Bitburner scriptable with assembly. It's going to have no issues that JavaScript has.
You will first give me a minute. I just had Minet's idea. Integrate AI into it, and if user tries to jailbreak, AI delete. They're saving all.
Oh, by the way, I'm not sure if you've seen the most recent feature within Automat. See this? The ID something something, it even increments each time I press it. And it can run not only console commands, this is also able to run graphical commands. This is a kitty terminal, this is not a screenshot anymore, this is a proper texture. And it's... There we go. It's a proper kitty terminal running within Automat. Automat is Wayland compositor now. And this is how you stop it. You just delete the app or throw it in the black hole. This is how apps should be closed. Being thrown into the black hole.
Could you make Automat output DoTool commands?
Yeah, I think so. Something like this would be... I think it would be... could be a separate object that looks around analyzes the other objects and converts them into equivalent do tool. Yeah, should be doable. I need to change some of those labels. Anyway. Yeah, Automat is getting new capabilities and it's fun. I actually hope to soon start developing Automat from within Automat. So yeah, it's going to be a proper desktop environment soon. I just need to finish this Wayland compositor thingy. There are still some bugs, some defects to address.
Also yesterday I tried to test Minimax M3 on Automat. I think I found reason about agents misbehaving in codebase.
What did it do? Was it even able to build it? The build is always a problem. I am working so hard on making it smooth, but even when I was setting a simple virtual machine with Debian, it was not able to build itself on Debian. Awful, just awful.
Context files eat too much context.
Interesting. My experience with context is that I am just unable to find a task that would fill the context completely. Like whenever I have a task that the AI performs, it always finishes well before I fill the context.
Using Claude?
Yeah. Claude and the model which has 1 million token context. So this is, I think, almost as large as they come. I think only Gemini has larger context.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I think Claude Code also uses subagent, so minimize initial context usage to the needed scope. But
Possibly. I definitely have seen some extra prompts being injected by Claude, definitely. Because at one point, when the agent was working, it said something like, oh yes, it's true that my context is running low. I should probably do something now. So it's clear to me that the Claude Code harness, they probably sent some hidden commands to the agents, some extra kind of prompts that I did not write. It probably injected some commands from me, kind of, as if I would type them.
on Minimax M3, context files ate up 33 of context.
Wow. By the way, there is a new system within Automat for working with AI. I was working on this workflow all the time. There is a new file called stochastic parrots. And within this file, you will find new instructions for the AI. And things are slowly starting to work nicely. This this shanty. There should be a name for cities which are governed by which do not have like a free city. Free city. City state.
My dentist will kill me.
What did you do? Or what are you planning to do, maybe? Is your dentist a serial murderer? Like Dexter? A dentist just waits for criminals to come.
Few months back, I got partial veneers because fillings got a bit too much to manage. Now, when those kind are cracked and I am waiting for new one, it hurts not. I weigh that I need pain medication, but away, tooth is itchy, and my dentist told me not use peppermint, and yet him still doing it.
Very interesting. Itchy sensation in teeth. Ah. Oh. This is a nice city.
So I take tea bag filled with peppermint and chew it, then wash it up with water that is not really cold, but feels cold on gum. Gets rid of itchiness for a few hours. On the other hand, how I supposed to scratch my teeth under the veneers?
URL.
Zero dependencies.
Your TSS will hate me. Here's source code. I will spare your TSS. But we really need those packages from NPM.
This is not a... It's not a actual backdoor. This is actually a debugging technique. It allows you to extract some local variable from a function.
TL Security says,
Hello, fellow gentlemen.
Hey, very fitting nickname. So we're looking at backdoor. So the way I see this function, this is something that you would use in a function. You would pass some local variable here, and then from the top level, you can access this variable inside this backdoor dictionary.
Meister Chica says,
And backdoor is not backdoorable?
It's for debugging. It's, you know, you add this, and then if you have a, function which is buried deep, JavaScript is full of lambdas, and lambdas have their own local scope, which is not accessible from outside. Lambdas are even used for hiding information within JavaScript. And with this backdoor, you can kind of insert a link from top-level window object into the lambda body, into some local variable. Yeah, in parent scopes, in global scope. Or maybe in parent scope. I don't know. Totally valid. Totally valid thing to do. I think the most important thing I want to say in my kind of essay on desktop environments is the sandboxing approach. How to say this? This is probably the weirdest piece of documentation I wrote. But I think it delivers the message. Maybe I will work on this in the future. Or maybe I will delete this. I don't know. Alright. I still have some quota, some weekly quota. For Claude. So I will try to use this. But it's kind of work. We'll probably do this off stream. I was planning to do a cool visualization to do with a vibrating string, but I think I will do this next week. Because priority for me is to develop this Wayland compositor first. So I want to get this done as fast as possible. Anyway, so this is it for today. See you next week. Yeah, it wasn't much time, but there is a lot of progress on the window, on the Wayland compositor front. Oh yeah, exciting things are happening. See you next week. Bye bye.